The following video contains profanity and language that some viewers may find offensive. Viewer discretion is advised.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, Sista Gurl on Films. And as you can tell by the title, I am doing yet another review, roast, and read. So if you are new to my channel, first and foremost, hey, how you doing? This is going to be a little bit of a different type of video. Nothing that I do regularly on my channel, but every now and again, I'll come across a film that makes me say, what the fuck were they thinking? So as it said in the beginning, warning, because I do use lots of profanity in these reviews. So if profanity, adult language is not comfortable for you, then I will not be offended if you say, sis, this is not the video for me. And that's fine. And you can watch something else where I do not use profanity, which is probably 90% of my other videos. If you are okay with profanity, then go ahead and buckle up, get you a snack, because we're going to go ahead and get to talking about this shit ass movie, Tales from the Hood 2. The opening credits for this film already set the tone that this is going to be some old bullshit, because it is really very much so giving me Disney Fantasia vibes with the dancing brooms and all that across the screen, except with skeletons with gold grills, blue blocker glasses. And I think a couple of them had cigarettes in their mouth, if I'm not mistaken. It was a hot mess, really. So then we get to the opening scene and we see that the movie is primarily going to take place at a place called Dumas Beach Industries. Dumas Beach. Dumbass bitch. Okay, basically wordplay, I guess. So we meet Dumas Beach, who is this rich white man who is all about creating an America that is free of crime. He's into the industrial prison complex. He is all about locking up black and brown folk. Thinks criminals needs to be locked up, and he feels like he should make money doing this. And so he is in the middle of doing this project where he's creating this super robot that will be able to determine, based on a certain criteria, and put it into the robot, who are the people who are the most danger to American society, so they can be apprehended or killed, depending on the severity of the negative and evil within them, I suppose. And then we get the arrival of Mr. Sims. Now, in Tales from the Hood, the first one, Mr. Sims was played by Clarence Williams III. He did an amazing job, memorable role, legendary role as far as horror films go. And so, while it was disappointing to see that he was not reprising his role as that character, I wasn't too upset to see that the incomparable Keith David was in his place. Keith David is a phenomenal actor. I can imagine that he may have read this script and only decided to take this role maybe because he had like some DIY projects to do around the house. He needed to save some money to go on vacation. He just wanted to add a little more money to his savings account. But it definitely wasn't because of the quality of the motherfucking scripts. Mr. Beach asked Mr. Sims to tell him a story. So right out the gate, the whole setup to the stories is whack as hell. Because we know in the first one, they were at the mortuary home, right? And so it made sense. They saw the bodies being prepared, allegedly, for the funerals and all these artifacts, stories behind it. This, on the other hand, is this man just recounting random stories just because. Why the fuck not? So the first story, I'm going to call it The House of Negrosity. even though it's called something else. Hell, I don't know. And so we have two teenage girls that arrive at this museum off the side of the road. And one is the little black girl, one's a little white girl. Y'all, I don't know. I literally know none of the characters' names in this movie. I'm sorry. Other than Mr. Sims and Dumas Beach. That's all I know. So, take with that what you will. Anyway, so we have these two teenage girls and they go to this museum of Negrosity. And basically it's a museum that has a lot of like pictures and dolls and like artifacts from the Black experience in terms of like caricature stereotypes like mammy dolls, voodoo dolls. I don't even want to say voodoo dolls. Well, yeah, voodoo dolls are in there too. Slave artifacts, things from slave time, stuff like that. And so these two girls are walking around the museum, and the white girl is there because she's so enamored with the idea of buying this little black doll called a gollywalth or something like that. I can't remember. And so they meet the owner of the shop, who is so over the top, talking about the history of the Black experience in America and racism and stereotypes, and it was too much. It was too much. And so at one point, the little white girl even said the N-word with a hard ER. And nobody backhanded her. I was confused. I was really confused. She asked, can she buy one of these little gollywalth, whatever it's called, dolls? And the man said, girl, this is a museum. Ain't nothing in here for sale. But then I was like, well, you should have a gift shop, sir. I don't know. So she is pissed off, the white girl is, because she can't buy the little doll that she wants. And so her and the little black girl leave. And then they come back later that night with the white girl's brother. And so when they get to the museum, conveniently, it's not locked and secured. And so they look for this doll that's put away. And so they grab the doll. And in the meantime, the black girl is apparently sleeping with the brother. And so there is an artifact of a whipping post in the shop. And the black girl gets the hot idea to wrap her arms around the whipping post while her white boyfriend role plays being her massa and whipping her. Yeah, y'all heard me right. You heard me right. And so then the little white girl grabs the little doll and she gets startled when the whipping post falls onto the black girl and crushes her. And she's like, I can't get up. And I'm like, bitch, let it go. Because you're holding on to it. Did they not notice that when they were filming it? Like, she's holding on to it. Let it go. And so they get it off of her. And then they notice that the little box that they have the doll in is broken and the doll is gone. And so the white girl's like, my little golly, where'd you go? And I'm like, are you waiting for it to answer you? What? So then she finds it, she picks it up, and then her hand has blood on it. And the brother is like, did you cut yourself on glass? You're bleeding. She's like, I didn't think so. Because that's how she's talking. I'm not trying to be funny. I didn't think so. That's how she talked. And so the brother was like, it's the doll. And he grabs the little doll and like throws it. I'm like, how did you know it was a doll? Nothing let us know that it was paranormal or voodoo. You just came to that assumption on your own. Well, then all of a sudden they turn around, y'all. And there was a big life-size version of this doll behind it. And so they all freak out. And so the black girl takes out running towards the exit. The golly has a whip in his hand. He snaps the whip at her, wraps around her neck. He snaps her back into the building. She falls on the ground. Somehow there's a guillotine or something. I don't know, y'all. But it slammed on her stomach, crushed her insides. She dies. Then the boyfriend tries to run. The golly snaps the whip again, hits him in the back. He turns around, falls into a chair. And then the most graphic death of the whole movie, in my opinion, the golly begins to whip the boyfriend in the chest and in the abdominal section until his guts fall out of his body. Goddamn. That was hard to watch. And then the last scene with the white young lady, Y'all. So in order for her to appeal to this golly so it doesn't kill her, she starts to seduce it. She starts to rub on his chest and say, I've always loved you since I was a little girl, and I can make you feel good. She was giving me all the Holly Berry and Monsters Ball, and proceeds to make out with the golly. The golly proceeds to rub on her little butt cheeks, and it fades to black, and we can only assume that she had sex with the golly, because in the next scene she's pregnant. Oh Jesus, y'all, this is what I'm talking about. Stupid. And so one has to ask, A, because she had sex with this life-size doll, did she get pregnant immediately, or did the owner of the museum keep her held hostage for 9 months until it was time for her to have the babies? They never really said, and I was confused. So the way this heifer dies is that she starts to give birth, but the gollies rip out of the middle of her stomach, and they start popping out like Jiffy motherfucking popcorn all over the place, hitting the curtains, walls, and shit. And the museum owner is laughing, and she's like, I can't tell if she's laughing or she's crying or what is happening. But at one point, one of the golly lands on her neck, close to her mouth, and she's like, I love you, my little golly babies. Oh, my precious babies. And I'm like, okay, what is really happening right now? And that was the end of that story. Trash, right? Right. And so Mr. Dumas was not feeling that story, because we're back with them. You know how this goes. We're back with them, and he's still being grab-assy with his assistant. Even at one point, this is hilarious. This is the only funny part in this movie, because it is categorized as a horror comedy. He wraps his little arms around her, Mr. Dumas does, and he puts his head on her shoulder. He snuggles up to her, and that was the funniest shit to me, because it happened in the background. It wasn't like mainly in the camera, and I felt like it was ad-libbed, and it was so funny. Like, stuff like that is funny to me. That was the only funny thing in the movie to me. So Mr. Dumas is like, that story was all right, but I feel like I need something else. So Mr. Sims brings him another story. I called this one Generational Curses. I think this one was called like the Psychic or the Medium or some shit like that. I don't know. But either way, this story opens up with us in a car garage, and this guy is tied up, and he has like 3 gangsters around him. And they're beating him up because they're trying to find where some money is. And so of course, he's not giving up the location. Come to find out, he's a reformed pimp. And now he's trying to do right by his community and all this other stuff. And so he says some stuff to get under with one of the guy's skin, pretty much insinuating that the dude was a pass around in prison. And you know what I'm saying? When he was walking around, that butt was whistling. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. And so the dude did not really take kindly to be called a pass around in prison. And so he knocks the guy out, and the guy hits the floor, hits his head, and he dies. And so now the main boss is like, what we gonna do? How we gonna find our money? And so they don't really know what to do. So then we cut to this scene of this like bootleg psychic who has a TV show, really giving us Sylvia Brown tease, honey. I forget the other dude's name, but these psychics that pretend that they can read the audience and it can talk to their dead relatives, which has been proven to be a hoax over and over and over again. But so we have a character like that who, again, I don't know his name. I don't know any of these people's names. Not memorable at all. And so this man is a whole sham, as you can expect. But one of the gangsters happens to catch one of his episodes of his show, and he's like, we should get this dude to be able to channel the ghost of the dude that we just killed so he can tell us where the money is. Yeah, y'all heard me. That's what the hell this story is about. So somehow, which I don't even fucking know how, they found out where this man lived. And so they used the girlfriend of the dead pimp to lure to get into his house because she's so beautiful, obviously. And so who's not going to let a stranger into their home just because they're beautiful? Without question. Stupid. And so they get into the house, having at gunpoint, and they like, we saw your show. We know you can talk to the dead. We need you to bring this mother back to life because we need to know where this money is. And the dude is like, I'm a sham. I don't know how to do none of that. My show is fake. And they like, bullsh, you can do it. So he starts trying to channel up all these spirits. And y'all, this is where it gets mad offensive for me. So he channels the spirit of multiple people, but you can tell some of the ghosts are supposed to be black people. And so it's a black woman, and he's doing all of this shit, this caricature. And then one is supposed to be a black dude, and he starts doing this. And I'm like, what are we doing? Just the story before, we were talking about stereotypes of black people and how it was so messed up. And now we're using it as a trope in the next story. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm so tired of talking about this movie. So then they finally get the spirit of the pimp that they killed. And so he pretty much is like, you know, it's my spirit. I'm not telling y'all nothing. And then he proceeds to kill all the little gangsters. One of them, I forget how he killed them, y'all. One of them, he threw like a bunch of glass into his mouth and it like ruptured his insides. And he ended up throwing up a bunch of blood and intestines. The main dude, he electrocuted him with wires from the chandelier. And then so once he took care of all of them, the pimp was still possessing the body of this white man who's a psychic. So now he refused to come out of his body. And so now he's going to be the host of this TV show. And that's it. So fucking stupid. So then we get back to Dumas Industries, and Mr. Dumas is still like, that was a dumbass story. And I'm like, I concur. And then so the next one, I called it Swipe Left. The actual title of it is something like vampires. I don't know. Some shit. Pretty girls. Date night is what it was called. Date night. And so we have the scene opening with two guys. Again, a white guy and a black guy. And so they are about to go meet up with these girls. One of the guys met one of the girls on like Tinder. She's really cute. She's supposed to have a cute friend that's going to hook up with the boy, the friend. They're all set for a good, fun, sexy night. So they get to this very nice mansion. And so the girls are gorgeous, honey. Again, I don't know any of these people's names. Girls are gorgeous. And so they're being all sexy and flirtatious with the guys. And one of the girls is like, let's play a game. And I'm like, ooh, they probably play strip poker or something. No, they play Cards Against Humanity. While in the middle of them playing the game, one of the guys gets up, makes everybody a drink. And as you can suspect, he puts a date rape drug in the drinks of the girls. They take the girls up to the bedroom. And so they lay the girls down. They take the clothes off. They have their underwear on. And so they're getting ready to set up the film, the iPad or whatever it was they were using to record. And then the black guy is like, wait, something's not right. And so they look at a viewfinder. And so the girls' bodies are on the bed. But then when you look in the camera, it was just their underwear and not their bodies. And so they look again. Their bodies are still there. But through the viewfinder, they can't see their bodies. You just see their clothes. So obviously that means they're vampires. And then so we hear this. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry. That was so stupid it was. They're hissing and they're standing over the guys, and now they're in their vampire form, which just means they have fangs here, and they're hissing. So the guys are like, oh, they're vampires. And then so the guys get knocked out of the room and they're trying to run away from the girls. And so of course when the guys run downstairs, the girls magically appear downstairs and attack them, bite them, suck their blood. And then so the guys wake up and they're in the basement. And so the basement, there's like a bunch of other like men, like creatures that are like locked up, but clearly something's not right. And so the girls pop up on like this big screen TV and they're like, yeah, you know, we're just like, y'all, this is so fucking heavy handed. Yeah, we're just like you. We're predators on social media and the internet trying to get our prey, and you are our prey for tonight. And as you can see, all these men around you tried to do the same thing that you did. And then unfortunately, not all of them die when we bite them. Some of them actually turn, and we can't have them running loose in the streets. So every now and again, we have to feed them. And so basically they let the guys, or not the guys, but the vampire zombie ghouls, I don't know, out of the cage. And then they attack the two guys and the guys die. So that's that story. And then this last story, again, Mr. Dumas, the robo stupid thing is getting a lot of information, but Mr. Dumas does not feel like it's really the information that he needs, because he needs information about how to identify the blacks. And so Mr. Sims is like, well, I got a real doozy for you. And so I'm like, oh shit, here comes the motherfucking finale. And then the last story, I entitled it Remember the Time. The actual title of it is Respect the Sacrifice, or some shit like that. And so we have this black man married to this white woman. Again, I don't remember any of their names. So these are the only descriptors that I have to give these characters. I do apologize. And so the black man is really giving me some Daniel Cameron vibes. If y'all know who that is, y'all know what I mean. And so he's a Republican, I'm assuming. He's part of a political party, at least, that wants to close some of the polling places and change some of the voting rights of people, much to have some voter suppression. And so his pregnant wife has been having this dream where there's this ghost that keeps appearing. And so it seems that the more she sees this ghost, the more it's impacting her pregnancy. And so she's already lost a baby before, which the entire city knows for some reason, that she's lost a baby before and she doesn't want to lose another one. And so the mom of the black man, the mom knows that the wife is saying that she's seen apparitions. And so she calls a voodoo man whose eyes is cocked like a pistol. They was wandering all around. Anyway. And so he also can see the apparition, of course, because he's the voodoo man. And the apparition is no other than Emmett Till. Y'all, they drug Emmett Till into this bullshit, and I really didn't appreciate it. I didn't even tell y'all. So the story actually opens with the beginning of Emmett Till's final days on this earth. It starts with two white men and a black man pulling up in front of Emmett Till's uncle and aunt's house in Mississippi and going to get Emmett Till. So this story goes back in between the night that Emmett Till was murdered and this politician's life in the daytime. And so basically, if Emmett Till makes a different decision and he decides that he wants to beg for his life and live, then the entire civil rights movement never would have happened. And this black man who's married to this white woman would never have gotten her love. Their baby would have never been conceived. Baby's not going to be born. So in order for this man to save his unborn child and to make his wife love him again, because the longer Emmett Till stays in his ghostly form and deciding to make a different decision, the more the future is changed. So throughout the entire story, little by little, things that the civil rights movement would have impacted are being shown. It's a whole mess. And so Emmett Till is like, I think I might choose another decision and I'm not going to die. And so this will be all your fault. And I'm like, hold up. So not only did y'all drag the very sad story of Emmett Till into this bullshit ass movie, but now you're also trying to tell me that Emmett Till is going, I get it that he definitely was seen as a catalyst for the civil rights movement and helped push it much further than it may have gotten. But I just found it so hard to believe. I just don't even know what to say, y'all. I was dumbfounded. All I kept saying during this entire story was, this shit is so dumb. And then they had a whole Field of Dreams moment of who's who of Black history. So they had the 4 little girls that were that died in the church the church bombing. They had those little girls come forward, and then Medgar Evers' ghost, and then Martin Luther King Jr.'s ghost. Yeah, I hate this movie. And so the black guy, he finally decides. At first he's like, I'm not sacrificing nothing. I don't get what you want me to do. And so Emmett is like, all right, well, fuck it then. I'm gonna change my mind, and I'm not gonna die. And so he starts to go back to the Field of Dream Clouds. I don't know where the fuck he's going. And so the black guy sees how much his wife hates him, and her belly is pretty much flat. And he's like, okay, I'll help. And so he allows the Klan Patrol, because it's not the police anymore, because civil rights, so it's the Klan Patrol, tries to apprehend him because he's laid with a white woman. And so this is when she spits in his face and is like, if I'm pregnant by you, I'm going to kill this little N-word baby, and blah, blah, blah. And then so he sees the hate in his wife's face and her little almost flat stomach. And so he tells Emmett to wait, who at this point really should have been gone. But I guess he was doing the slow, he's going to change his mind bop. I don't know. And so he says, okay, wait, I'm going to sacrifice. And then so he takes off running, and then the Klan Patrol follows him and then proceed to beat him to death. And then so once he dies, everything goes back to normal, with black people only having some rights, you know, systemic oppression and all that. I won't get into that. But then the wife is like, what happened? And then I'm asking, what happened? Because how the hell is he on the ground dead, face beat up, but nobody knows how or why it happened? Are they trying to say he like fell on the ground, bust his face? Like, how was any of this explained? So the voodoo man is still there. So he can see the guy's body. And then once he emerges, his spirit emerges, then the wife too can see his body. Jesus Christ. So yeah, that was almost the last story. And then we end with Mr. Dumas is like, okay, well, we got all the, not Mr. Dumas, Mr. Beach. We got all the information we need. So he says, you know, let's get this shit on the road or something. And Mr. Sims is like, oh yes, the shit. Now he says this a couple times, and it just did not have the same effect, because the shit that they talked about in Tales from the Hood 1 was drugs. They were going to pick up drugs, allegedly. And so they kept referring to it as shit because they didn't want to call it drugs, so they would not be held accountable or like they were trafficking drugs. So they called it shit. So it made sense. In this context, whenever Dumas would say like, oh shit, I spilled something, here come Mr. Sims. Oh yes, the shit. And I'm like, I know you are shitting me. Okay? You're shitting me. This is what we're going to do. And then so at the end, when Mr. Dumas is like, let's go get on with this shit, and Mr. Sims is like, oh yes, the shit, the doo-doo. He really said the doo-doo, the poppycock. I don't know, he said something else, child. But I said, okay. Keith David really needed to get his deck remade. Remodeled or something. And that was stupid as hell. The shit. The doo-doo. And then so everybody is looking at him like, what the fuck is wrong with this man? And I felt like that was a necessary way to look at him. And so they go out to the stage, and there's all these people who are here to see the unveiling of this super robot. And they kind of give a demonstration. And so the robot is like, I am sensing some people who have committed robberies in the community. Please identify yourself or you will be something. He has like a little laser pointer. And so the people who have apparently committed robberies get up, and then they turn themselves in. And then he's like, I sense some illegal aliens that are child. Jesus Christ. This movie is so dumb. And so then the illegal aliens, they turn themselves in. And then the little RoboCop is like, I can sense an imminent threat to American safety. And then he turns his sights onto Mr. Beach and becomes like really big. And Robo whatever tries to kill Mr. Beach. And so he runs away. And then Mr. Sims pops up in a car and picks him up. And so Mr. Beach sees that he's shot. And Sims is like, talks to him, and he's like, just shut up, and I don't have time for this shit. And here he goes again. Oh yes, the shit. The shit. And so Mr. Beach is like, I don't have time for this, you stupid N-word, hard ER. And Mr. Sims said, well, this ain't no car, and I ain't no N-word. And he was like, whoa, and I ain't taking you to no hospital, some shit he said. And he's like, this is hell. And he gets in his face, and like his little snake tongue comes out. And then he stops the car, and then the casket in the back shows that Dumas is dead. And then a bunch of like demons pulls Dumas out of the car, and that's the end of the movie. Y'all, this movie was an hour and 50 minutes long. Hour and 50 minutes of my life that I'll never get back. This movie was shit. It was terrible. The fact that it had the exact same producers and writers and directors as the first one still blows my mind. And they have the audacity to have a third one that is either coming out this year or came out this year. It's 2020. I'm not watching that fucking shit because you gave me this. So there's no reason for me to do this a third. Why would I do this a third time? No. So that is all I have for my review, read, and roast of Tales from the Hood 2. It is streaming on Netflix right now. Obviously, don't waste your time to watch this. If you got Netflix and you're bored and you just want to watch it to see if I'm just exaggerating, go ahead, watch it. Go right on ahead and watch it. But I feel like you could probably spend your time doing something else. So that, my friends, oh, I dropped my glasses on the floor. That's all I got for y'all. I hope you enjoyed this review. Comment below if you've seen Tales from the Hood 2. If you have not seen it, if you plan to watch it, why the fuck would you do that? And I just told you not to, because you're hard-headed as hell. As always, y'all, like this video, share this video, subscribe to my channel, and I'm going to see y'all next time for something else. Thank you so much for all the support, and I'm going to see y'all next time. Holla!
Hey, sister girl on films. Hey.